Imagine if you went from feeling fine every day to feeling amazing. How would your life be different? Everyone has the ability to feel amazing again and again. You just need the right tools to get there. If you're ready to feel amazing, stick around. Now, here's the host of the I'm Not Fine show with functional nutrition coach Lizzie Ens.
Hey, you guys. We are back for another episode here on the I'm Not Fine show. My name is Lizzie Ens, and I am your host today on this show. And we are on the Inspired Choices Network. Real quick reminder, if you are watching us live and you have, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or in the Inspired Choices Network app or our computer, whatever it is, you can even watch me on TV. You can stream me on Roku TV. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So if you have any questions, put those in the chat and I'd love to have a conversation. So if there's anything that comes up, put those in there. And then we're going to dive into the show. Before we do that, I also want to just give you a quick reminder. You can reach me at lizzie@undietyourself.live. You can email me and let me know if you want to chat with me or have a consultation with me, because anybody that has something going on where they're like, they need extra help and they want to work with someone, I do free consultations. So you can book those with me as well. And you can find that link in the show notes as well. So grab that if this is a place that you want to go. Today, I am excited for today's show. And this topic actually came up because I was talking to someone that came to me for a consultation. And one of the most profound things that she told me while we were having this conversation was that I just need to shut out the noise and I need to hone it in, and I need to work with one person that can help me and guide me, mentor me, and coach me along this journey of healing and wellness and really truly understanding what it is that her body needs. And I thought to myself, you know what? This is something that so many people are struggling with. It is extremely overwhelming. And with information on Google, on Instagram, on Twitter, on now we have Threads, like we have all these different platforms, TikTok. I just started getting into TikTok a little bit, and it sort of went crazy. I like was doing TikTok for a little bit. I was like, it's not really my thing. But a friend of mine's like doing amazing on there, but it just wasn't, I wasn't feeling it. Well, recently I started getting on it again and I started sharing and posting. And then I like had a couple videos just go crazy. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. But if you follow me on Instagram, you know that's kind of my jam. But maybe TikTok is going to become part of my jam as well. What I'm trying to say here is if you really think about it, there's so much information and everybody has their own opinion. Everybody has their opinion of what is best or what you should be doing. You should be taking this supplement. You should be doing this diet. You should eat this way. You should exercise this way. And it can start feeling extremely overwhelming and chaotic. And this is why this person actually came to me, is because that's how she was feeling. And she's like, I don't even know what to believe anymore. Like, do you ever feel like that where you're like, okay, I went on a Google search and I scrolled Instagram, I scrolled TikTok, and I saw 20 different people talking about the same topic, but they all had a different opinion on what you should do about it. And now you're like, well, what's the truth? What do I actually do? The truth is that you have to do what's right for you. The truth is that you have to have discernment, and you get to make that decision. Okay, what is actually going to work for you? And sometimes you have to work with someone that can help you, guide you, mentor you, educate you. Like, education is so empowering. And sometimes that is what you have to do to get to that place, to trust yourself, because you now know. How can you trust yourself if you don't feel empowered? You don't. Like if we don't feel educated and empowered, we don't trust ourselves to make the right decisions and do the right things. But if we feel educated and we have knowledge and we know, hey, this is what works for me, it doesn't matter what anybody else says, that's when you can cut out the chaos. Here's another thing. I've talked about this before about feeling empowered and feeling in control when you go see a doctor. And I'm going to keep talking about this because this is so important, especially for so many women, which is why I'm so incredibly passionate about this. Client of mine, I always have client stories because they have the best stories ever. So I will share client stories for inspiration for you guys. But I've been working with this lady for a while. We did her lab work and we're working together for 3 to 4 months or something like that. And she had amazing results, and we didn't do anything extreme. We just implemented the things that her body needed, and it was phenomenal what happened. And she's in her 60s. So like, I just want to encourage you, like if you're in your 50s and 60s, it's not over. It is not over. In fact, you should be feeling amazing in your 50s and 60s. My mentor is 50 years old and in the best shape of his life, never been at the weight that he's at now, never had as amazing blood work as he has. The doctors are like, what is going on? And it's because he changed his lifestyle, he changed his habits, and he's taking his health routine very, very seriously. And the crazy thing is, I don't know, he's 50. I have no idea how old his wife is, but he did some blood work to figure out like where his body was really deficient, gave his body what it needed, and his wife got pregnant, and now he's 50 years old and he's gonna have a baby because he got so fertile, she just poof got pregnant. That's what happens. I said, what would be really cool is if we were able to live, which it's not impossible, but you'd have to be very intentional, especially in today's age, but live until we're like 100 years old without kids, and we're like healthy and vibrant and just building our businesses, building our lives, traveling, doing all the things. And then when you turn 100, then you start having kids, and then you live another 150 years. Not everybody thinks that would be cool. But you remember back in the day, in the Bible times, they used to live, 200-300 or more years. So it's like, okay, like, why aren't we doing that today? Anyway, back to my client story. So she went to her annual review visit with her gynecologist, and they did a little bit of blood work, but not a whole lot, just like the basic stuff. But what she did is she walked in with all the lab work that we had done. And she looked at it, and the doctor looked at it, and she's like, well, do you want to rerun all of these labs? Because I don't know that insurance is going to cover it. And my client was like, no, I don't need you to rerun all of these labs. First of all, because I don't even know if insurance would cover it. And I will tell you straight up, like the way that I'm able to order these labs is what people would pay for the package of labs that I'm able to get for my clients. They would pay thousands of dollars out of pocket at the doctors because the insurance doesn't want to cover it. And so she's like, no, I don't need to have you order those labs. So the doctor, precautionary for good reason, tells her, I just want you to be careful. You're not sitting in Lizzie's office and yada, yada, going to that. And my client goes, well, sitting in an office hasn't helped me before. So that's why I went over here and got help over here, and it's working and it's amazing. And I'm getting amazing results. And the doctor kind of sits back and goes, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. And I was like, wow, like that to me was really, really impressive that she was receptive of that. And so she continued to show her like what I've been teaching her. And the doctor ends up like looking me up online and she goes, oh, wow, she really has been educated. Like she has the knowledge behind all of this. I see. And at some point, she looks at my client and she goes, I can see you've been educated. And my client goes, yes, I have. And so when I had that conversation with my client, I had goosebumps like all over my body because I told her, I said, listen, do you know how many women cannot stand up like that at the doctor's office? And they're just left walking away, feeling helpless and hopeless with no answers. What you just did is you educated yourself, you allowed yourself to go where you step away from what was not working and you went where it did work. You educated yourself, and that education empowered you. And now you walked into that office feeling empowered with knowledge and information and knowing. And she didn't do it in a disrespectful way, because here's the thing. I never want anybody to go to a doctor and be disrespectful. That's not what this is about. But it is about you feeling empowered and you going, okay, I know what to ask for. I know what to look for. And if they decide that they don't want to look for it or they don't want to work with me, then it's your job to step away and go, okay, I will go somewhere else because they're not helping me. So don't keep going back and trying to like recreate and hope for the new answers. Now, I know, I'm fully aware that insurance is a big piece of this. So of course, like I can't take insurance. So when people work with me, they're not using insurance. They're paying out of pocket, but what they're paying out of pocket for is giving them so much more. What I tell everybody is when you are investing in your health, you're investing in your future. So this is so much more than just now. When you think about when you're taking care of your health and you're in healing, there's two things that happen every single day. We're either fighting disease or we're preventing disease. It's one or the other, depending on what we're doing. So if we're choosing to eat healthy and take care of our body, drink water, exercise, sleep, all of those things, we're investing in our health intentionally and we're preventing disease. When we're not taking care of our health and we're just, eating lots of foods that don't make us feel good and they're causing inflammation and illnesses in our body, that's when we run into trouble. And eventually you're going to end up in the doctor's office over and over and over wondering what's wrong with you. And for a lot of people, the doctor's like, well, I either can diagnose you and give you a pill or I can't help you. That's what they're taught to do. So it's almost like a deadline. So now you're kind of like stuck going, what do I do? Is this the best that it could ever be? Is this the best that I could ever feel? Like those are all legitimate feelings that people have, legitimate things that people feel and go through. I've talked to people in their 30s saying, my body hurts all the time and I'm just getting old. And I'm going, you're in your 30s. Like there is no reason for you to feel the way that you're feeling. So please understand this. Like you do not have to accept the fact that you're just getting older, because that's settling as well. Like you're settling for that. We've been taught in society like, oh, when we hit our 30s, our metabolism goes down. It only goes down if we allow that to happen. If you change your lifestyle and you give your body what it needs and you're moving and you're sleeping, there's no reason for your metabolism to just all of a sudden slow down. It's our lifestyle and it's our habits. So think about that. Don't just accept that you're getting older. You can prevent a lot of things, and you can put things into action to make sure that you're feeling amazing. Because in the end, age is just a number, right? It's just a number. We get to decide what we're going to do with that. Okay, we're going to go to our first break. But when we come back, we're going to dive deeper into this subject on chaos. And I talked a little bit about how it can feel when you have all this information and it feels chaotic and very unsettling. We're going to dive into that a little bit more, and we're going to continue through the entire show talking about this, and then what kind of steps that you can take to hone things in and help you get out of that chaotic, overwhelmed feeling. So don't go anywhere. I'm Lizzie Ens. I'm your host on the I'm Not Fine show.
We often get used to just feeling fine instead of reaching to feel excellent or even good. Wellness is about feeling good, and that is a journey of continually coming back to what is nourishing and healing for us. Your body is functional and ever-changing, like a pendulum swinging. We must learn how to move with our bodies. Tuning into I'm Not Fine with functional nutrition coach Lizzie Ens will provide you with simple but effective tools that you can use right away, so you can go from feeling just fine to feeling amazing. Listen for I'm Not Fine on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is I'm Not Fine with Lizzie Ens. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to lizzie@undietyourself.live. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. We are having an amazing conversation here. If you are here live, please put some comments in that chat box, or if you're watching on Facebook, you can do that too. I want to answer your questions if you have some. We are talking about chaos and how do you work through that? What do you do when you feel chaotic? You know, when everything feels chaotic, that's usually when anxiety comes in. That's when depression comes in. So there's a couple things that can happen. So for me, for example, if I feel like things are unorganized and chaotic and all over the place, there's a couple things that will happen. I will either shut down and shut people out so that I can get my stuff done, or what I will do is just avoid doing the things. So, and I know that about myself. And so when I start recognizing that, what I will do is I will turn off like all my notifications, and I'll go, okay, notifications off. And I cannot look at anything other than the project that I'm working on until I'm done, or the allotted time that I gave myself to do it. And then just the checklist of going through things, to check things off as I'm going through that, checking it off. It's very, very relieving. And at the end of the day, you can sleep because you did the things that you said that you were going to do. So what do you do when things feel chaotic, especially when it comes to your health? So this is something that a lot of people struggle with, especially clients that I work with, and it's something that we work on, is structure. You have to have structure if you want to get rid of the chaos. Now, I've talked about this before. You also want to make sure that you have the knowledge and the information behind why you're doing what you're doing. And so an example could be, the person that came to me and was like, I just need to shut out the noise, all of the noise that's around me. And I need to work with someone that can help me bring some balance in and understand and educate her what she needs to be doing. And so that was her way of going about it. And I really highly encourage that for a lot of people. What do we do when we're responsible to someone? When we are working with someone and they're our coach or our mentor or whoever it is, but we're responsible because they gave us homework and they said, okay, these are the steps that we're going to take to help you. When we do that, it helps give us structure and organization. So the first thing that you want to do is make sure that you recognize what is causing the chaos. What's causing the chaos in your life? Are you reading too much information? So for example, if you're someone that just got diagnosed with hypothyroidism, okay, so maybe you got diagnosed with hypothyroidism, the doctor puts you on thyroid medication, which by no means am I saying you shouldn't do that. And then you go on a Google search or Instagram and you go, okay, let me see what I need to do for my thyroid. But now all of a sudden you have a million things coming at you because everybody has a different opinion on what it is that you need to be doing. And like I said before, the truth of the matter is that you have to do what's right for you. What works for me may not work for you. Why? Because we live a different lifestyle. We live in a different environment. Maybe you have more kids than I do. Maybe you have a different job than I do. You probably have a different job than me, which means you have a different routine than I do. There are some basics that you want to work on, and I'll get into those a little bit later, but you want to recognize what is causing the chaos. For me, when I think about what is causing the chaos, it's that I'm not following through with the structure of my day, getting up, doing a workout, reading, doing my self-care kind of stuff, then getting my breakfast in and having my structured work hours. If I'm not following that structure, it's really, really easy for me to work on one thing for a little bit, work on another thing for a little bit, or get carried away with things that I don't need to be focusing on. So structure is so key, but the important part is recognizing what is causing the chaos. Like I said before, what is it? Are you going on your phone and scrolling right as soon as you get up or right before you go to bed? I mean, that's like a really bad habit. It's not good for your brain. And I'm guilty as charged sometimes for that. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, sometimes I find myself in that rut and I'm like, Lizzie, what are you doing? Like, this is not helpful for you. And so you have to put structure in place. And something that I do, if that's something that you do, something that I do for my clients is called a digital detox, where every night you create an evening routine, like an hour or so before it's time for you to go to bed. And a digital detox means you turn that phone off, you put it on, turn the Wi-Fi off on your phone, which everybody should be doing anyway, and you turn it on airplane mode. And then you make sure that that phone is not beside your bed. You put it in the bathroom, the kitchen, the living room, wherever, you feel okay having it, but it should not be beside your bed. And there's many reasons for that. But one of the reasons is so that you don't automatically just go reach for it as soon as you get up the next morning, or you're scrolling on it when you go to bed. So a digital detox is really good if you find that you are scrolling a lot or going online a lot when you shouldn't be. Because think about this. When you get up first thing in the morning and the first thing you do is look at your phone and you go on social media or you check your emails before you've done anything else, and you do that, like it really puts your brain and your mindset in a different place. Whereas if you get up and you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you get water to drink, you sit down and you read, or you go work out at the gym, whatever it is, and you have that kind of routine where it's like self-care and you're not bringing in all the noise and the chaos from the world outside of you, you feel a lot more grounded within yourself, a lot more grounded, a lot more stable. Like it starts your day off so much better. And I know this because I've done this before, and I still sometimes fall into that. So you know what I've been doing recently? I've been making myself sit down and read every morning before I do anything else. Before I get on my computer, before I get on my phone, I have to sit down and read for no less than 15 minutes. And that's my time. And that's not saying that that's the right thing for you. It could be that you read before you go to bed. Which, by the way, if you have a hard time falling asleep at night and you have a hard time with an evening routine, one of the best things you can do is like get ready for bed and then you read a book. Reading a book will make you fall asleep. Watching TV is probably not going to make you fall asleep, but reading a book will make you fall asleep. So sometimes it doesn't take very long, and then you're sleeping, you're like, oh, that was great. But with that being said, recognize what's causing the chaos. What is it? And then make a plan from there. What are you going to do about it? And I'm going to go back to the structure part. How do you need to structure your day in order to avoid the chaos? Now, listen, we're always going to have things happen in our lives that are going to cause chaos. You know, there are things that happen in our life that happens. And sometimes that's just a stage. It's just a phase. And then you can go back to, all right, we're through that. Now let's get back to the structure that we've had before, because that's what makes you feel grounded and strong. Okay. So keep that in mind. Recognize the chaos and then create an action plan from there. We're going to continue to talk about this more. We're going to go into our next break here in a minute, but when we come back, I'm going to specifically talk about what you can do with health and nutrition and diet steps when you're feeling chaotic, and what you need to do to bring some balance into that and avoid the chaotic noise of trying to grab on to all the information that you can. Maybe it's time for you to work with someone to help you bring that in and help you give you the knowledge and the education that you need to feel empowered in order to move forward and not feel like you have to go seeking for all the information and figure out what the answers are, or maybe even reaching for that quick fix diet because it feels like that's what the answer is. But then in the end, you're still disappointed. So don't go anywhere. When we come back from our break, we're going to dive into all of that. We'll be right back.
We often get used to just feeling fine instead of reaching to feel excellent or even good. Wellness is about feeling good, and that is a journey of continually coming back to what is nourishing and healing for us. Your body is functional and ever-changing, like a pendulum swinging. We must learn how to move with our bodies. Tuning into I'm Not Fine with functional nutrition coach Lizzie Ens will provide you with simple but effective tools that you can use right away, so you can go from feeling just fine to feeling amazing. Listen for I'm Not Fine on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is I'm Not Fine with Lizzie Ens. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to Lizzie at undietyourself.live. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. We are having an amazing time on here talking about chaos. So if you are someone that is feeling chaotic in your life, I hope that you have been enjoying this show. And if so, if you are listening to the show and you're enjoying it, please go into the review section and give us a 5-star review and rating, and write a little review in there and let us know why you're liking it, how you're liking it, all of that good stuff, because it helps push it out to more people that need to hear the message. So really, really grateful for that. And also just a quick reminder that you can book consultations with me. So if you are feeling like you need someone to help you and guide you and mentor you so that you can feel empowered to and have the knowledge that you need to move forward with your health and also help you heal your body, then book that consultation with me. Let's have a conversation and let's see what we can do for you. Okay, we're going to go back to the show here and talk about, how do you deal with the chaos and how do you work through that and how do you get back to structure and balance. I asked this question to someone recently. I said, is there ever really truly balance? Like, do we ever really truly have balance? Because there's like this yin yang that happens. So like sometimes you'll be really good with one thing. So like when you think of like your overall wellness, it's like the mental, the physical, the spiritual, the emotional. I feel like there's another one in there, but all of those have a part in your life, whether you like it or not, they do. And so, if one is like, you could be like really, really strong in your mental, but then like be really, really low in your nutritional aspect of things, like the physical aspect of things. But then you could also be like, hey, I'm really, really strong in the spiritual, but also I'm not like taking care of my health either. So you want to bring some balance in there. And I don't know if there's ever a time where we're 100% balanced in all of them. I think the word balance is kind of getting thrown out a lot. And I just don't know, like, if we're striving on being balanced all the time, are we truly being authentic and just being? Like, one of the things that I've been working really hard on recently is just being. Just be, go with the flow, just be. Not necessarily like, hey, I don't have any goals. No, I have massive goals right now. But it's also like, what I mean by being is being present. And chaos, if you're in chaos, you're not present. You can't necessarily be present, because if chaos is all these things going on, so it's like, okay, what do I need to do to actually go in here and calm the chaos down and be with you? So one of the biggest things that you need to do when you feel chaotic and all over the place is you have to get to a place where you're okay just being with you. And this is not comfortable for a lot of people. I actually have a client right now that's something that I'm really, really working hard on with her is, I told her, I said, listen, I need you to spend 15 minutes of time, 4 times a day. You got to go out on your patio and sit there and be outside. Because this is someone that doesn't spend a lot of time outside, like sometimes never outside and see the light of day. And I said, okay, first step is that we have to get you outside. Well, the first week that I had her practice. And I said, go out, sit on your porch. I don't care what you do out there, but I do need you to go out there because you need sunlight, you need daylight. And the following week, she told me that she could only do it for like 5 minutes, and then she was bored and like twiddling her thumbs. And that right there told me that she was very, very uncomfortable being in her own presence and being in her own company. And so my recommendation to her was, I said, listen, I don't care what you do when you go out there. You can listen to music, you can listen to a podcast, you can read a book, you can journal, whatever it is that you want to do, you just need to go outside. So we took baby steps. But why am I sharing that? Because there's a lot of people, when you are in chaos, there is no way that you are being authentic in the present and now. And so one of the things that you have to do is really back into yourself and go, okay, Lizzie, why is it chaotic right now? And what do I need to do to bring myself back into my presence and paying attention to myself? You know, if I can recognize now, if someone sends me a specific message and I instantly feel anxiety, I go, okay, why am I feeling that? Like, why is that triggering me? And then I can go, oh, okay, that's why. And I recognize it. So it's not like you just shove it to the side or anything like that. No, it's actually tuning in and paying attention to that and getting to know you. So many of us don't know who we are personally. We know who everybody else is. We don't really know who we are. And the most important person that you can get to know is yourself. The most important person. Because if you don't know you, then how are other people going to get to know you the way that you want to get to know you? So let's talk about diet and exercise and supplements, and when all of those things are feeling noisy and overwhelming. The first thing that I'm going to tell you when it comes to your diet is, like I always say, you have to do what's right for you and what feels good for you, and not necessarily what someone else is saying that worked for them. So an example is, I had someone recently tell me like, oh yeah, like a bunch of her friends were doing medical medium and it was like working for them, but for her, it was like detrimental and it just didn't work, not with her lifestyle and not with her health issues that she was having. Yet her friends were like, no, you should do medical medium because it worked for them. And that is the epitome of like, okay, like you have to like go in here and go, but is this right for me? Could it work? Maybe. But you really have to hone in on that and tune in with yourself and go, is this what I want? And is it actually going to work for me? So what I like to do when it comes to your diet is we want to keep it as simple as we possibly can. As simple as we possibly can. And what do I mean by that? Okay, let's talk about this. You think about, you want a balanced plate, right? So instead of focusing on dieting, focus on what can you bring in that's going to help heal and nourish your body. And you want to go back to the basics. This is what I talk about all the time. You go back to the basics. You want your protein, your complex carbs, you want your vegetables, and you want your healthy fats. Those are the basics when you think about a meal. There's actually a book called Simple Cooking for Dummies or something like that. A client of mine told me, because she doesn't like cooking. She doesn't like anything that's like super complicated, and I don't really cook complicated. I keep it super simple. And she tells me how she got this cookbook that's like cookbook for dummies or something like that. And it's like 3 to 5 ingredients. And I was like, that's genius. And so there's over 200 recipes in this book. And so if you're someone that's like, I don't like cooking, or I don't understand how to cook, but you want to learn so that you know how to like fuel and nourish your body, like go look for something like that. Like you could literally look at something like that and go, okay, I can cook that because there's like 3 or 5 ingredients in there and you can do it. So keeping it simple. So when it comes to cutting out the noise for your diet, what I want you to consider is, okay, instead of searching for the fastest quick fix diet that's going to give you like really quick results, if it even does, I want you to hone in and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want the structure of my day to look like? What do I want the structure of my diet to look like? And maybe you don't even know, and that's okay. That's why sometimes you need people to come in and help you and teach you and mentor you, and then you find out what's going to work for you. But if you are searching all over the place for all the things, then that's where chaos comes in. And that's why you have to, like I said before, why you have to pull it back. You have to go in here and you have to go, okay, I can go, what does Lizzie want? What does Lizzie want her diet to look like? What does Lizzie want her day to look like? What does Lizzie want her routine to look like? And creating structure around that. I've had so many clients that, they didn't do any kind of like meal structure planning. So what I mean by that meal structure planning is not necessarily like, hey, I'm every weekend I'm like cooking all of my food for the week. That's not what I'm talking about, because a lot of people that I work with, they're moms and they have kids, and it just doesn't work that way. And so what we work on though is the structure of the week and go, okay, if you sort of have an idea of like what your family likes to eat, I want you to think about, okay, 3 to 4 nights a week, what are the meals that you guys like to eat? And then you can create structure around that. So there was actually this one girl that I was working with, and she kept saying like, I'm just not good at meal planning. I'm not good at meal planning. And so then I asked her, I said, well, how do you prepare your dinners then? Oh, I just pull something out of the freezer, and then we might have like, some frozen burgers that we make or whatever. And I said, okay, so you really do have a plan, but you just feel like you don't have a plan and it's not structured well enough. So instead of saying, I'm not good at cooking and I'm not good at planning, I told her, I said, you just have to redo how you're doing things. So you redo how you plan. So you think ahead a little bit so that at the end of the day, you're not going, oh, I don't know what to do. That's chaos. So in order to overcome that chaos of last minute, don't know what to have for dinner, we're going to just pull things out of the freezer and have whatever. The planning and the structure around it gives you a lot of peace and a lot of ease for the day, because when you get up in the morning, you already are making a plan of what you're going to be cooking for your family for dinner that night. So you can go about your day knowing what that's going to be, versus if you're going about your day and thinking, what are we going to have for dinner? What are we going to have for dinner? That's chaos. And so the structure and the planning gives you the ability to go throughout your day feeling empowered and secure in knowing, I know what we're going to have. I already have a plan in place. So really what you're doing is you're giving yourself power by having the plan and the structure. That's what you're giving yourself. So keep that in mind. So again, go back to the basics and create some structure and create a plan around it, so that you don't have to feel like you're just going chaotic throughout the day. And at the end of the day, you have stress and anxiety because you're like, now it's the end of the day and I don't even know what we're going to be having for dinner, which is a big, big thing for a lot of people. Okay, we're going to go to our last break here. But when we come back, I'm going to continue to dive into this a little bit more, even when it comes to exercise. And I'm going to talk a little bit about supplements as well, because this is a big deal for a lot of people. So please don't go anywhere. I'm Lizzie Ens on the I'm Not Fine show. We'll be right back.
We often get used to just feeling fine instead of reaching to feel excellent or even good. Wellness is about feeling good, and that is a journey of continually coming back to what is nourishing and healing for us. Your body is functional and ever-changing, like a pendulum swinging. We must learn how to move with our bodies. Tuning into I'm Not Fine with functional nutrition coach Lizzie Ens will provide you with simple but effective tools that you can use right away, so you can go from feeling just fine to feeling amazing. Listen for I'm Not Fine on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is I'm Not Fine with Lizzie Ens. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Lizzie at undietyourself.live. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. We are on the home stretch of this show today, and I am so excited that you guys are still here, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Just remember, every week, every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and 12 p.m. Central Time. This is when we go live. So you can come join us live if you want to and hang out in the chat room and ask questions. So just remember that, because that's where we are every week. All right, we're going to get back to the show and finish this out with some more things that I want to talk about. Exercise. So exercise is one of those things that you just have to do it. You want to keep it simple. So I'm going to pull it back just a little bit. So again, lots of opinions and information out there on what the best exercise is. And here's what I like to tell people. Exercise is the thing that you're going to do, but sometimes you also have to make yourself do something that is not comfortable at first, because we don't grow in the comfort zone. We grow in the discomfort. There's a lady that I'm working with that has, we just started, and she's like, I hate exercise. I will walk every day, but I hate exercise. But based on what her lab results showed us and the goals that she has, I said, listen, like, you do have to bring in some strength training, because this is what your labs are telling us. And this is, this is what you want to do with your health and your body. So it's going to be important for that. And so what we did is we started slow. And at first it was difficult for her, where she was just like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. And now, 2.5 weeks in, she's been doing it consistently. And she's like, I'm actually starting to like it. And so that's what I mean by sometimes when we're starting out to do something, we have to decide we're going to embrace the suck and we're going to do it anyway. Because that's the part that is going to make you stronger and get you to that finish line or that goal. I don't know that there's a finish line, but that goal that you're trying to get to. It's like an example, like for myself, I started taking swim lessons yesterday. I took some swim lessons a few years ago and it went okay, but it wasn't amazing. And then a couple of weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I need to get back to swim. Like, I want to be able to go on a trip somewhere and swim in the ocean and not feel like I'm going to die. And I need to be able to survive if I fall into the water somewhere. So I sign up for these swim lessons, and I go to do my first session yesterday, and I was like, this is going to suck. Like, I really, really don't want to do it, but I want the outcome of it. I know I want the outcome of it, but I don't want to go through the discomfort and the pain of getting there. But I'm going to do it anyway because I know the result. So I did. I went there, and honestly, it was so empowering and amazing because I have a really, really good teacher. And I walked away going, that is the most empowering and confident that I've ever felt in the water. So that's what I mean by sometimes we just have to make a decision that whether it sucks or not, we're still going to do it because we're going to come out towards the goal that we want to achieve, and it makes us stronger. Because again, we don't get stronger in the comfort zone. We have to do the crappy stuff. Let's talk about supplements just a little bit. I don't talk about supplements a lot on social media for many reasons. But what I want to point out and talk about today is there are a lot of supplement opinions and information and all the things. And I'm not saying that they're all bad. They definitely are not. But you have to be so careful, because it's easy to go buy a supplement and hope that you have the right one that's going to give you what you need. And sometimes we do that because we like self-diagnose, like what's going on. But the way that I like to go about with supplements is that I want to see your lab work first. I want to look at your lab work first, and then we can work on giving your body what it needs. So don't go and just spend a bunch of money on a bunch of different fancy supplements because someone promised like this is what it's going to do for you. Get some lab work done, understand like what it is that your body is needing, and then go into that. But I needed to touch on that a little bit today because the supplement industry is really overwhelming online, and you can get carried away and spend hundreds of dollars on supplements and not even know if your body needs it. So be careful with that. There are some basic ones. Like I had someone ask me this the other day. What are 2 to 3 supplements that you would recommend or that most people need? And my answer was magnesium and probiotics. Magnesium has over 300 metabolic functions. It's really good for the nervous system. It's good for your brain health, your gut health, your muscle health, your sleep. It's a lot of people that start taking magnesium, they start to sleep better and their digestion starts to improve, which that's like a 2 for 1 right there. So magnesium is a really good one. But again, you want to make sure that you're not taking a terrible brand of magnesium, because then there's tons of different types of magnesium as well. So make sure that you either ask an expert or do your research on that one. And then a probiotic, like probiotics, so good for your gut microbiome, especially if you've been on antibiotics or you're on medication. You have to feed your good gut microbiome, and that is your probiotic. So I eat fermented. You can get probiotics through fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi. Anything that's fermented is going to become a probiotic for you. But I always take like a probiotic capsule because I just want to keep everything nice and strong. And so that's another one. And again, quality matters. So just keep that in mind as you're going on this journey. If you're not working with someone, quality matters. The thing about supplements is you can buy cheap supplements and have expensive pee, or you can spend a little bit more on supplements and have a body that feels good. So you want to make sure that what you are putting into your body when it comes to supplements specifically is that you're not doing more damage than good. But the one thing that I will tell people every single time is there are 6 basic vitamins that our body needs. Doesn't mean you have to supplement, but you should be making sure that you're getting it through food, which is vitamin A, B, C, D, E, and K. Like that's like as basic as you can get. So not saying go get those, but I'm saying think about the foods that you can bring in to help support making sure that you're getting those vitamins and minerals. All right, that's a wrap for today. It was such an amazing time sharing all this information with you guys. Remember, we'll be back next week at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'm Lizzie Ens, your host.
Thank you for listening to the I'm Not Fine show. Lizzie Ens returns Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, have the best week of your life by making choices that take you from feeling fine to feeling amazing.